Imagine living on less than $2 a day. Could you feed your family? Send your children to school? Plan their future? This is the reality for 1 billion people around the world.
Land is the key source of income, nutrition, status, empowerment. It is the principal source of livelihood and well-being for still about half of the world's population, and importantly, for more than 3/4 of the poor people on the planet. Agriculture is their means of livelihood, and the relationship to the land is absolutely critical to their status, their security, and indeed the lives of their children.
Since 1970, Landesa has been creating pro-poor land law programs for tenant farmers, which espouses the idea of land to the tiller. Only secure land rights can alleviate poverty.
So we envision a world free of poverty in which all men and women who depend on land for their livelihoods have secure legal title to that land. And we champion land rights for millions of the poorest men and women around the world in order to increase opportunities and promote social justice.
Inspired by Roy Prosterman, his mentor and professor, Tim Hanstad joined in 1986 and became the co-founder of Landesa.
Landesa realized some time back that changing land rights to strengthen the rights of the world's poor wasn't enough, because women were not sharing equally in those benefits, and that women are often the critical key to development. We have taken a very deliberate approach to ensuring that a gender equality and women's rights, when women in particular have their land strengthened, that empowers women dramatically. That leads to giving them a voice in their communities, better outcomes for the family. So all sorts of ripple effects for the family itself, but then also for society at large. Land has a tremendous impact on deforestation, on climate change, on conflict, on rule of law.
I mean, it's always really impressive to hear the beneficiaries themselves speak to why the kind of work we're doing with their government or with civil society organizations is making a difference for them. So, for example, when I was in India, we went to a women's support center and watched live a kind of training for women about their legal rights to land. It included not just land rights, but also tactics for them to feel comfortable and feel empowered and not afraid to speak to men and to officials about their land rights.
When it comes to inheritance, we have very progressive laws and policies in India that allow women to inherit land. The patriarchy, the social norms do not allow women to inherit land. So our role as Landesa, we try to provide land literacy, try to make the women aware about their rights. We are also trying to provide the government officials to build their capacity, make them aware why it's needed to basically focus on women.
Landesa 可以说是最先在国内提出妇女土地权益问题。我们在对土地登记的开始之前，我们就向有关部门就建议，你总得要把妇女的名字要列在你这个土地登记的权利的证书上面。
随着中国经济的逐步发展，我们更多的把重点呢放在比如说征地、规模经营，所以我们 Landesa 我们还是能够希望在这些领域里面持续的跟中国政府合作，能够给他们提供这方面的政策支持。
Most of our work in Africa has been through invitation by government. We work closely with governments in addition to civil society, both at the national level and then sometimes also at the more local level. In Africa, most of the land is held in customary land tenure systems. There aren't formal titles that many of us might be used to having, but rather land is controlled by customary groups of people that have used the land for many, many years. But in Africa, one thing that we find is that there are tremendous energy by women and men on the ground who are fighting for proactive change.
Our most immediate target right now is Myanmar, where we see huge opportunities. We are also building out our work in sub-Saharan Africa. We've just set up an office in Tanzania. We're increasing work across a number of countries in East Africa and some in West Africa. So those are also high priorities for us.
Although we've had considerable success and reached perhaps 120 million households with secure land rights over the 50 years of our work, I suspect there may be another 50 years of work to be done before we can say that virtually everyone on the planet has secure rights to the land on which they depend for their livelihood. So I perhaps will not be around for the next 50 years, but hopefully Landesa will be around for the next 50 years. And by all means, persist, be stubborn, stay with it,